Hello, this is Steve Selps. I'm the CEO and co-owner of HealthSense Inc., and I'm very pleased today to talk to you about our flagship product, HealthSense Revolution Software. Revolution Software is a web service. It means that all of the function in the product is accessible on the internet in the cloud at www.revolutionsw.com. First, let's discuss the customer value proposition. Most importantly, this product is designed to dissect payer fee schedules, to help you seek out and determine patterns in those fee schedules, to enable practices and ASCs to increase revenues on commercial payer agreements. And it has a number of different modules that help you go about doing this, including benchmarking from two different vantage points. One vantage point is to benchmark against other similar provider outcomes in your Medicare locality, in your state, and across the U.S. And by doing so, you can determine which contracts to keep or cancel or renegotiate. You can also assess whether or not on an agreement that's already in place, you are getting paid correctly relative to the contracted rate terms that exist in the agreement. And you may assess whether or not you are better off relative to being in-network or out-of-network on a particular payer contract agreement, and also make sure that your charge master has what I would characterize as good hygiene. Means that the charge master is set at a high enough threshold relative to a percentage of your bill charges so that your contracted rates are not such that the contracted rate is actually set at a threshold where the contracted rate is higher than your bill charge. Because what happens is you will get paid the lesser of the bill charge or the contracted rate, which means that if your charge master is set too low, even though you may have negotiated very effective contracted rates, you will get paid at the lower bill charge amount. So that's a very important aspect of the analysis that's done here. And we also detect whether or not your charge master is normalized at a percent of Medicare that you intended to be set. So if your intention, for instance, is 250% of local Medicare, and the charge master detects that certain codes fall below that threshold, then indeed the product will provide you a report to point out which codes fall below that threshold. And then we have an ability here to do an apples-to-apples comparison between different payer fee schedules on a normalized volume base, where you select the so-called primary payer, where the volumes of that primary payer by code are used to apply against the contracted rates of the primary payer and the payer that you choose to compare to, so that you may assess whether or not your agreements are reimbursed at a similar threshold, and ultimately do a series of benchmark comparisons across your payer agreements. The ultimate goal here is to increase revenues, and often by doing a thorough assessment and determining which parts of your fee schedules and which fee schedules can be optimized, you may have the opportunity to increase revenues by as much as 20 to 50% or more per agreement if you go through this series of prescribed steps, not only using the product, but the associated business process techniques that are required in order to increase and maximize revenues. Now, relative to practice management revenues, the goal here is to illustrate where payer contracts analysis and negotiations fit into the revenue cycle. And often what we find in working with medical practices, and for that matter ASCs, is there's a lot of focus on this top section here: practice management solutions, scheduling, coding, billing, collections, cash flow, all the things that of course are necessary to running an effective practice, no doubt. But if on the other hand you don't focus on your payer contracts analysis and negotiations and optimizing your reimbursements, then you end up leaving substantial money on the table, even if you're running an efficient practice. And that's really the point here, is to marry up your payer contracts analysis and negotiations into the practice management revenue lifecycle. Now, Revolution Software, the product that is designed to do all of this analysis, is at a certain level, you can view it as a basic computing system. It has inputs, it has processing or analysis, and it has outputs or results. The inputs to Revolution Software is a charge master and one or more payer fee schedules. We suggest at least 2 payer fee schedules be loaded, simply if for no other reason, so you may compare them and do some benchmarking from that standpoint. The charge master is simply your list of codes along with your bill charges and site of service, and the payer fee schedules integrate the code, the contracted rate, along with the associated volumes for each of the CPT codes and the site of service. We've also added a new feature which allows you to integrate technical component and professional components for those codes that such as radiology codes that have that kind of reimbursement, in addition to support for global modifiers. Once you pump that data in, and you only really need to load up your top 20 to 40 codes typically that represent 80+% of your revenue, then you immediately get the value out of the tooling, the benchmarking of the payer reports, comparing any 2 payers, the payer comparison module I spoke of, the contracted rates versus actual payments, in-network versus out-of-network analysis, and bill charges analysis. The goal, once again, is through the reports and the advanced reports and business models that you get out of the tooling, you want to get more profitable contracts, get your charge master hygiene cleaned up and adjusted properly, and ultimately get better data to negotiate with as you go into a negotiation with a payer. And this is very important because payers have large actuarial departments where they do their own assessments, and you don't want to be at a disadvantage in these negotiations. If you have a tool like Revolution Software, you can level the playing field and go into a negotiation and be effective. Last but not least, you can take a look at your out-of-network versus in-network options. In concluding, I would encourage you to take a look at our demonstrations, also found on the same page where you located this demo at healthsense.com. And I'm very confident that if you apply Revolution Software to your practice or ASC, whether you're a small, medium, or large size practice or ASC, whether you're a single or multi-specialty ASC, all of these techniques will serve you very well in achieving the goal of increasing revenue and profitability. Thanks for taking time out to hear about Revolution Software, and I look forward to you taking a look at the product on our website as well. And of course, contact us for any additional information at the various links on the site. Thank you.